I know, and you know, that everything you told me is a lie, correct?
Not everything that I told you.
What happened to Kaylee?
I don't know.
You do know. What happened to Kaylee?
I don't know where she is. The last person that I saw her with is Zenaida.
It's not the truth, because it went to the apartment complex. There's no person that ever lived there by that name. The apartment's been vacant since March. Listen to me. We're even pulling surveillance video from the apartment complex, and we're not seeing you over there. We're not seeing you there at all that day. You think that we're stupid and we're not going to do all this stuff?
Do you wonder what it feels like to be the most hated person to have ever existed? Casey Anthony probably knows that after her life was shattered by her own mistakes about 10 years ago, where she lost not only herself, but also her daughter, all the young mom wanted to do was to have a child-free life, but she couldn't have, so she took matters into her own hands. She got caught doing the most inhumane things to her daughter, yet she is still allowed to roam free in this world. We'll tell you what really happened, and you decide whether she's telling the truth or living a total lie. There's a new documentary about Casey Anthony, and we're sure you probably heard about her once in your life. She was part of the so-called social media trial of the century that time because people kept following her case, much like the O.J. Simpson case and the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial. Imagine making a 6-hour documentary to convince everyone that someone like Casey Anthony is innocent, and instead it makes everyone go, oh, I believe she did it even more now actually, and then eventually reopen the case. Where the Truth Lies is a docuseries where Casey speaks out and tries to convince others that she's not the murderer of her own daughter, but what really happened and why is she even free if people think she hurt her own child. Plus now, she's getting the spotlight. Here's her cruel story. The Anthony case is one of the most followed cases in America. This happened back in the year 2008 when the tragic death of Kaylee Anthony took place. Kaylee was Casey's daughter, whom she had as a result of an assault during a party, or as she would claim it. She was born August 9, 2005, when Casey was 19. Apparently, her parents never asked who the father was and no one really cared as long as Casey and Kaylee were okay until they were not. Casey Anthony lived her life as a single mother filled with lies. Thank God she still had her parents around to care about her own daughter when she intentionally didn't want to. It looks like the last time grandparents Cindy and George Anthony saw little Kaylee was on June 16, 2008. Casey always had an excuse for why the grandparents couldn't see Kaylee, whether it be school, daycare, or something else. Cindy and George just accepted it and only started to question events a month later. During that whole month where they couldn't spend time with their granddaughter, Casey was seen partying at nightclubs and having fun with her then boyfriend. There is even footage of her dancing at parties and pictures of her new tattoo that says Bella Vita or Beautiful Life in Italian. What's worse is that you start to realize how the timeline is, and you'll see that Casey thought it was a beautiful life after she already knew that Kaylee was gone. The grandparents wouldn't even know that something was going on, if not for their car that almost got impounded. This happened because Casey allegedly abandoned their car, and they were contacted. When they saw their car, they realized that there was a foul smell coming from it. The puzzle was suddenly together when they thought of Casey missing, Kaylee missing, and this unknown smell coming from their near impounded car. Now, everything clicked, so the cops were called and they were finally on Casey's tail 24/7. The time this was reported, Casey went back home and tried to explain her side. She said that she knew exactly where her daughter was. She was with her nanny, Fernanda Gonzalez, and she refused to give her back, scared that something might go wrong with the nanny and Kaylee. Casey did not contact anyone, even the cops, about the situation at all. She hadn't seen her own daughter in months. Police finally came to their senses and realized that Casey was just playing with them. She told them lies about her work and her life as Kaylee's mother just to mislead them and make them fail to solve the case. She was arrested for child neglect, but after everything unfolded, she became the prime suspect of her daughter's disappearance. And by then, everyone in America was holding searches and vigils for the poor toddler, but the mom didn't really care. Investigators couldn't do anything because Casey would not talk. Alas, they finally had enough evidence to charge her with child abuse, child neglect, and manslaughter. A few days later, though, authorities found a decomposing body near the Anthony's home, and it was, in fact, Kaylee's body. It seemed like the world was lining up just to watch this trial, but all we heard were testimonies from experts and other professionals. We wanted to hear what Casey would say if she really wanted to live a child-free life. Lawyers were accusing her for abusing her daughter for years, even ruling the death as an accidental drowning even when there was tape on her mouth. and eyes. These accusations were never proven to be true. It was just a tactic by the lawyers to scare Casey to admit the truth, but she still kept silent. This story got so popular that there were law and order episodes about the entire thing. It took 6 weeks for this trial to unfold, and at the end, the jury still declared that she was not guilty of child abuse, child neglect, and manslaughter. She was innocent of all those accusations, but she had to serve initially 4 years in prison for lying to the police during the investigation. We guess Casey knew her way out of it because she only lasted 12 days in the cell because of good behavior. Kaylee's law was then written, saying that parents who impede investigation for a missing child would be apprehended. So many lawsuits were being thrown at Casey's face, and people were reinvestigating this for years, hoping that the past prosecutors missed something. It was honestly turning into a cult-like situation. By then, she vanished from the face of the earth. Well, not until she went viral this 2021 after she called the cops. Casey had been absent from the media until a woman threw a drink at her face in a bar. Someone probably recognized her as America's most hated mom and did what they thought was right. After that quick video from the cops that went viral online, Casey Anthony claims to be speaking her truth. The internet went hysterical when they heard about this. One person even pointed out that Casey had the audacity to call the cops on a spilled drink but refused to do so when her daughter went missing. She couldn't call the cops for 31 days, mind you. We've looked at every angle, from her ex-cellmate who observed that Casey was guilty to new investigators who admitted they missed a few things in their reports, and jurors who claimed that they didn't think she was innocent. It's just that the prosecutors did not give enough evidence to prove that she was guilty. Casey even admitted that she knows she did nothing wrong and she sleeps good at night. But are we even surprised with that? Where the Truth Lies sheds new light on the crime and unexpected verdict. There's been endless coverage of the years-long investigation and trial, including books written by both the prosecutor who failed to get a conviction and Casey's defense attorney. But the upcoming Peacock docuseries, premiering November 29, promises to tell the story for the first time from Casey's perspective. Who even gave her this platform and who even thought this was a good idea? The public is totally enraged by what she is doing, that it's doing more harm than good. In fact, we're all madder than ever. The documentary had the now 36-year-old sit down for multiple interviews over the course of 6 months to speak to the infamous investigation, trial, and aftermath, as well as the speculation surrounding her actions at the time, her demeanor in the courtroom, and her time spent in prison. We don't know what she really means to say, but one thing is for sure: the members of the jury regret their decision. One juror even admitted in an interview that no one from the jury liked Casey Anthony at all. She seemed like a horrible person. But then again, the prosecutors did not give them enough evidence to convict. He added that they gave us a lot of stuff that makes us think that she probably did something wrong, but not beyond a reasonable doubt. His decision, along with the rest of the jury, still haunts them to this day. As this documentary became the talk of the town once more, Casey started to gain fans. Those who have been watching this trial since years back are saying, "Really disappointed some of you are falling for Casey Anthony's lies about her parents. This woman is a pathological liar. This woman has not uttered a word of truth. Do not group her with women who are actually assault survivors. She killed her baby. That's all there is to know right now." Casey's just been partying, thinking that her new documentary will finally set her free, but in reality, it's going to be her downfall. That's all we have for you right now. Thanks for watching.